Hello, happy Tuesday. This is the third time I've tried to record this video because I keep trying to talk about things and then I'm like, maybe that's too personal for my second YouTube video. So we're just going to keep it a little more high level. But if you'll remember, last week I had this assignment to do for my trans journey healthcare stuff. Trans journey in healthcare. And I had to write this nice reflection-y thingy. It ended up being about 5 pages because I love a writing assignment and honestly have so much to say about transness and my experience with it. But anyway, I finished it, sent it in today. Woohoo, yay me. And I'm meeting with this person tomorrow to hopefully begin the actual hormone readiness assessment, which is what I have to do in BC to do the whole get into the hormones things. So yay, very exciting. I got blood work done, yes, which is always a freaky thing, but I did it. So for part of this video, I just wanted to talk about, or just read a little excerpt from this reflection that I wrote that I thought was kind of profound and definitely I relate to, and maybe you'll relate to it too, so let's just read it. The biggest benefit for me from hormone therapy will be comfort in my embodiment. This gender journey for me really comes down to embodiment. I am more in love with myself and my body than I have ever been in my whole life, and I am more actively present in body and mind as well. The biggest issue I keep coming up against is this desire to change my body with hormones and surgery, because now that I'm more loving and accepting of myself, I am more aware of the discomfort I feel while existing in my body. How fun is that? This is what I mean by finding comfort in my embodiment. I feel like this is hard for people to understand, but I do not hate my body in any way. In fact, I've never been more in love with myself. And it's just that, increasingly often, I become aware of the disconnect between my body and gender fuckery, and that can create overwhelmingly frustrating, painful, and even devastating moments of dysphoria. I believe I can find more ease in my day-to-day life by pursuing gender-affirming care. My biggest focus in life is to embody myself and help others do the same for themselves. The more I can honor my needs, the better equipped I'll be to help others meet their own, and that's how I got here. Haha, 222. Amazing. And, yeah, so that's how I finished off this 5-page letter. I don't know how thrilled the healthcare professional is going to be reading 5 pages of me rambling on about why everything's so meaningful, but, like, dude, I thought a lot of this stuff through, and I'm here, and I'm doing it, and I'm ready, and I'm excited. What else happened this week? I went to the emergency room this week because I was experiencing issues with my IUD that I have, because I have an IUD. It's the Mirena hormonal IUD. It's up in my uterus, and it kind of got jostled around a little while ago, and then the pain wasn't that bad, and it was like, well, no, it'll probably be fine based on the people I talked to and whatever, but then it sort of happened again, and the pain was really bad, and I felt like I'd been, like, poisoned, but I'd also just eaten dairy that night, and I haven't really been eating a lot of dairy because I'm very allergic to it. So I think my allergy was worse, and then I think the IUD was already had been jostled a bit, and then probably my intestines just dying because of the dairy that I'd eaten up against the same organs holding this piece of metal that's already a little bit irritated and out of whack. I just think I created the worst situation in the world for myself. And anyway, it was so bad that the next day I left work early and went to the ER, and needless to say, everything seems fine. Apparently all I have to do is just pop a painkiller, and this just happens to everyone with an IUD sometimes. It just gets so irritated that it literally just feels like something's horribly wrong, but nothing's horribly wrong. And it was funny because I had a moment where the student doctor is, here in the room with me doing this pelvic exam. Of course, I'm spread eagle. Relatable, I'm sure. Which I've been many times before in a medical encasing environment. So I've got the student doctor, we've got the doctor who's helping the student doctor, and then me, naked from the waist down, and they're both just, they bring they bring the light down, right in so that you can see everything, grab this big plastic lubed thing, shove it in there, clamp it open, you're like, and then they're poking and prodding around and doing all these little funky things, and man, I was literally laying there just watching all this go down from my viewpoint, and I just said, man, it's weird having a vagina, huh? It's just like, everybody, get on in here, check it out, what on? These two fucking also vaginaed people just killed themselves laughing. And I think that is just part of who I want to be in the world. I just want to notice these things and say shit about them as I go along. Because I think being someone who lives outside of the gender binary, or who lives in sort of the in-between space in any regard, like whether that be sort of neurodivergency or like alternative lifestyle in comparison to what you've grown up with or where you live or whatever, I don't know, you know what I mean, like the in-betweeners. I think we all feel like an in-betweener in certain places and circles, but I really just want to be an in-betweener in the like gender, you know, how to human world, because I just think there's so many things that we could be questioning and need to be questioning because they're fucked or they're weird, or maybe it'll just make us all feel a little bit better if we break the ice and talk about how weird everything is once in a while. So like me cracking a joke about how crazy it is to have a vagina in the ER with a bunch of nurses in my pussy is like, I feel like that's authentically me. That's what I want to be doing in life. I hope that doesn't make me sound super crazy, but even if it does, that's okay, because that's how I feel. And yeah, but man, just had to pop an ibuprofen and smoked a little bit of weed and ate some food and went to bed, and the uterus is feeling better now. It's still a little funky here and there, but I'm like, honestly, for me, having an IUD has like really been a form of hormone therapy for me, because I started on birth control when I was 14 on the pill, which was dramatic because ADHD, taking a pill same time every single day, no, awful, terrible decision. And then I got on the NuvaRing, which is a really great form of birth control that I really did enjoy. And then I was like, I kind of want something more long-term before I go off to university, because I was still like young, cute, cis girl going off to university, don't know who will be fucking. And so I thought I'd get an IUD, and it changed my life, honestly. And I loved it, didn't have any problems, and then I decided that, oh, I've been on birth control since I was a kid. I want to go off of birth control now that I'm starting to, you know, accept myself as outside of the gender binary and understanding my body and all my feels and all these things. Let's go off birth control and see how I feel and get in tune with my real natural cycle. And I did that. And the next 6 months were hell. And I had to take like 4 months off work. I crashed and burned so brutally. It's like all of these things had been sort of held up since I started birth control, and then they all just unleashed, and I learned about my neurodivergence, and my whole life crashed and burned, and I learned so many important things about myself, and it was such a life-changing experience, but also was horrible. And like feeling that in tune with my menstrual cycle and the places my body is in based on the time of the month and the way my emotions are and how I feel, and then the bleeding. Oh my god, I've definitely got endometriosis or something, some sort of cystic. I even had an ultrasound for it when I was younger, and they recommended I go back on an IUD to help with the cysts that grow in my... Anyway, all of this to say, I went off birth control and learned a lot about myself, and then immediately went back on the IUD because I can't handle my menstrual cycle. I can't do it. It makes me feel so horrible. And I know it makes everyone, like, menstrual cycles are never fun for anybody. They're not a fun thing. I understand that. But man, I do not like feeling completely incapacitated by this thing that my body's doing that it doesn't even need to be doing. I mean, Christ, it's creating more tissues in the wrong places because of how bad it is at doing its own job. Like, I just, no thank you. So, birth control, definitely a valid way to get on your own kind of hormone therapy before you can get hormone therapy. I found progesterone, it's just been super, super helpful for me. So if you're like, even if there's no chance of like pregnancy, I don't know, I think it's interesting and should be studied a little bit more, maybe just even explored more anecdotally in like the trans mass community. But like, how do you feel when you go on some form of birth control that helps with the bleeding, helps with the hormone cycles, helps with all this kind of stuff? Because really, if you think about it, what is it? It's hormone therapy. And it's way more accessible than trans hormone therapy, but really fundamentally it's kind of doing the same stuff. We're fucking with hormones. Bodies do different things because of it. And we feel better because it feels better for us. Or we feel worse, and so we shouldn't keep doing it. I think at the end of the day, one of my biggest realizations in reflecting on all this stuff this week is just that, like, I am my own individual person, and that's why I'm deciding to pursue these things. It's not because anyone's telling me to. It's not because I believe I have to be a certain way. It's not. Believing I have to be a certain way has only ever held me back or steered me in the wrong direction. No, I want these things for me. This is my body. I only get to live in it once, okay? I only get this version of this soul one time. I'm gonna fucking do it the way I'm gonna do it. And I encourage you to do it the way you're gonna do it too. And try things and talk to people and ask questions. And I love all y'all. Thanks for watching. I'm Zaz. Happy Trans Tuesday.